Well, today I'm out here, so I have 5 totes full and a little bit. That was 3 bundles of hardwood that I got cut up and put in there. And then I'm thinking I have like 3.5 bundles of softwood cut up. And I actually changed some stuff around because I did have totes with chunks sitting here. I did have somebody that wanted a bunch of chunks for their boiler, so I actually took them from here, seeing as how they weren't full of snow, and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna pile up this pine slab wood because this is gotta dry. And some of the totes that were sitting there with chunks in, you know, if you look at this one here, you know, the bottom of that one's all busted up and the bottom of that one's all busted up. I found that's part of the problem when I don't put the plastic down underneath, because the plastic underneath helps keep them from sinking in the mud and freezing in. And when they're frozen, that's usually what happens. It usually tears the bottom all apart. So some of these that are sitting over here, I'm going to classify them as the organ donor totes, because my bin that I actually started emptying out, and I'm going to scratch doing that idea. I'll maybe take some of the bottom skids of them and they'll get one of these cages put on basically to a new bottom, and then I can scrap out the bottom of these. I'll get rid of a couple of the junk ones, whatever. It's not a big deal because I do have plenty more. But this one here, you know, is probably one that'll be salvageable and be able to be used because I think everything's there. You know, there might be a couple of them sitting here that still have all the parts and pieces. And then over here, I do have a bunch of them sitting here that are ready for basically cutting some more of the slab wood. I do have one that's partial full of pine here. So here you can see where I did have my bin as I've been taking off of this. I just been leaving the totes sit here. So like I said, a lot of these tote bottoms will probably get utilized with some of the other cages that are up there that the bottoms are all broke and tore apart. So I'll probably end up doing a little manufacturing work, which I can always do that sometime when it's dark because I can actually set them in the shed and do it. But right now, I mean, there's probably 7, maybe 8 face cord here yet, you know, and then there's probably another 9 down there. So a lot of that'll probably actually end up going for boiler wood. And then I do have some totes sitting here right now, which have basically all the nasty stuff and short cutoffs, which will actually end up being boiler wood. And some of that is just downright boiler wood. It's just a bunch of basswood and cottonwood. So I just got them sitting there. Obviously they're not sitting on plastic, but if they're frozen, these are going to stay sitting here probably until spring. Once spring comes and everything's thawed out, I'll have more room. And I do actually have the intent that a lot of the stuff will get moved over into the bigger area where Chris's stuff is yet. But in spring, that should be mostly gone. And it is kind of nice. I mean, this is all mixed hardwood. Back to these 2 totes here that are partially stacked. These 2 totes that are sitting here that are stacked is probably about a face cord. That's stuff that has actually been dry for a while and ready to sell, but I just, one of them where when I started my mixed hardwoods, I just stuck it in there because I figured if I needed it, I didn't come in from this side and get it. And then basically from here on down, if I have to, if that ends up being boiler wood for the lady I've been selling boiler wood to this winter, I can sell her that. And then this big pile of logs back here is probably most likely going to get turned into boiler wood for me. And I can always process a bunch of that for the lady that I've been selling boiler wood to, that she can get it stacked this summer in her woodshed and have it set for next winter. So over here is where I did move the pile of pine logs. I moved them over here so that I had better access to the bin over there. Yeah, it's kind of been playing musical logs here, but they'll probably stay sitting here now until I get them processed. And I do have a little bit of mixed hardwoods here yet to finish up. And when that's finished up, I'm going to actually probably take care of the pile of logs that's over on the other side. That's got some cherry and some oak and hickory and a bunch of good stuff in it. So I'll probably process that after I'm done with that little pile right there. And then I do have a pile of mixed hardwood sitting back there that will probably be where I'll eventually get to. But I do have a bunch of totes of slab wood over here because I just brought 6 more loads back in. So there's 3 bundles of softwood right here. And then I got 4 more bundles of softwood here. And then out here towards the field more, there's 2 bundles of hardwood. And then there's 1 bundle of soft and another bundle of hardwood. So my goal is to probably get the 3 bundles of hardwood processed, because a lot of that's dry enough that if I do need some extra wood this winter, I'll have that I can burn in my boiler. I would burn some of the pine, but a lot of that's too wet yet, so that'll need to sit and dry. I can always use the pine slabs in my boiler in spring, I should say spring, or it'd be basically spring or fall use when it's not having as high a demand of heat. But I'll probably start with that stuff next fall if I have a bunch of it. If I need to, I can always process some of it down, split it up into a little bit smaller pieces on some of the big stuff, and I can sell it for campfire wood this summer. I'm standing here on the pile of the tree length logs, which I'm hoping to eventually get to doing this. We might have something fun come over here that my dad and uncle are been using for cutting and processing wood. They bought something, and maybe that'll come over here one of these days, and we can play around and run some of this stuff through. And then I do have the big behemoth Mamba Jamba sitting over there that one of these days I might just get out the saw and cut a lot of that up, and then I'll break that down with a skid loader. I can break that down into smaller pieces, and I could pile it up on the concrete, and that way in spring when everything turns to mush, I'll have a bunch of wood that I can split down. It'll be more manageable size pieces. But there is a lot of, that's like perfect 8, 9 inch, 10 inch diameter stuff in here. Then you do have, a few bigger ones in here. Chris's stuff is getting to be smaller and smaller. It will be nice in spring when he's done and out of here and a lot of his stuff's out of there, because that'll give me some more room to put my stuff over there. I do kind of have plans. I do want to plant some trees back here. Might be some apple trees, might be some fruit trees. So that's kind of what my plan is. I do want to plant a few trees back here, so that way apples are back here. Bring some of the deer in. Maybe I'll actually hunt right here in the backyard once in a while. So that's kind of what I have going on right now. I didn't get much time to do videoing because I was busy the last couple days. I was trying to get a bunch of slab wood cut up, thinking that I could get caught up with the slab wood, but that didn't happen because I just brought 6 bundles home yesterday, and I think the last 2 times I cut, I think I got 4 bundles cut up, and I got part of a last bundle actually sitting on the deck because the bands broke, and when the bands break, I can't get the whole bundle up there at once. I do have some ideas I do want to play around with. Some different ways that I can try to cut that up to make it faster. A lot of people have made good suggestions to band it together with a bunch of ratchet straps and just cut it all as a bundle. But the problem I see with that is I don't want to have to bend over and pick up all the slabs. If I had something that was up on a trailer, that I could cut it on a trailer and then not have to bend over and pick it up, might be another option. But as of right now, the way I've been cutting it on my rack has been working, so that's probably what I'm going to stick with for now. So the slash bin, it works nice, and the only thing I noticed is like doing the slab wood, a lot of the hardwood, you do get big 8-foot long sheets of bark that do peel off of some of the stuff. So there's a lot of bark that's 8 feet long, and there's a lot of sawdust in here because when I had snow and stuff in the sawdust, I didn't scoop it up and put it in my tote for my chicken coop. But it's not a big deal because I do have a tote that's about 3/4 full of sawdust, so I do have enough for putting in the chicken coop right now. But this right here works really good for just getting the stuff in here, and then in spring, once everything's dried off, I can scoop this up, haul it down back in the field in the low spot, and then usually in fall after the crops are off, I usually always try to get it hauled down there then again. So I usually empty it twice a year. But right now it's probably about half full, which it's okay because the other side is normally where I always put my wood chips. Right now there's a couple bladders in there, and I do have a bunch of slabs from the lumber I sawed. I just got them thrown in there. So worst case scenario, if this side over here gets filled with slash, I'll just have to get the slab wood out of there, get that cut up, and then I can pull them bladders out of there, scoop a little bit of snow out if I have to, and I can just use that side and fill that side with some of the slash and bark and sawdust too. So, but as of right now, that's kind of all I have going on. Hopefully next couple days here I'll have some time and I can do some more cutting and get some more stuff done and do some more videoing. So right now, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Bye.